Hi, I'm Shannon from houseimprovements.com, and through this video I just want to show you how to make a perfectly straight cut with a circular saw. Basically what you want to do is you want to have use a straight edge. So find something that's nice and straight. Could be your level, could be a piece of wood you previously ripped that you know is straight, and you're going to use it basically as a guide by clamping it to the wood that you want to cut. So in this case we're using this piece of 1x8 pine, and we're going to cut a strip off the end of this 4x8, or it's not quite a 4x8, but this 1/2 inch plywood. So the items we're going to need is a circular saw. And one thing we want to know, because basically you're going to clamp this on and run either this side of the saw base or this side of the saw base against it. So depending which side you're running against, you need to figure out also the distance to the blade and allow that in your calculation. So if you want to cut say a 10-inch strip off the end of here, and you're going to run it against this side of the blade, and it's 1.5 inches difference there, we need the straight edge to be at 11.5. So figure it out depending on your saw. All saws are a little bit different, and then once you have that figured out, you want to measure from the edge that you're wanting to cut from. I'm just going to put a pencil mark. Actually, that's laying pretty straight. So measure it equally, or maybe you're cutting an angle or whatever you're doing. Just lay your straight edge on there. Use a couple of clamps to hold it in place so it isn't going to move on you. One thing to watch for when you're picking a straight edge, if I was to be running this edge of my saw against there, I also need to allow room for this, so I need to make sure I have a wide enough straight edge that I'm not going to run into the clamps or anything like that once I get cutting. I want to set the depth of my saw blade for the material I'm cutting. Okay, I can plug my saw in now. Get in there. Okay, so there. Make sure my saw horses aren't going to be cut by the saw. Put on my PPEs, personal protective equipment, and I can make my cut. So there, because this item is straight and we used our saw to follow it, we've now created a straight cut. Really simple and easy. I mean, you can almost do any length you want. It's only dependent on the straight edge that you're using for the length of straight edge you have. Another item you can use that comes with some saws or can be purchased to go with the saw is this little guide. And basically there'll be a spot on the saw that it'll fit into, and then you tighten down the clamp, so you basically measure your distance between the blade and that guide. Most of them will go in either direction, depending what you're trying to do. And then you just use that guide ran against, I'll just move this clamp so you can see. So if I was going to make the cut on this piece of plywood, I just run that guide right there against the end of my plywood or whatever I'm cutting. So like I said, some of the saws will come with that guide. It's not as straight as using a straight edge like what I showed you originally, only because this foot here is usually kind of small. So if there's any little deviation in whatever you're running it against, it'll tend to follow that a little bit. But the straight edge is really the simplest way to get a nice straight cut with the circular saw. So hopefully that helped you on maybe a project that you have coming up or whatever. If you have any questions on this or any other DIY project, you can go to our forum page on the website at house-improvements.com and post it up there, and I'll be sure to get an answer off to you as soon as I can. And you can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks a lot for watching.